Good afternoon, artists, and welcome back to Super Happy Art Adventure Times. Today I'm going to teach you how to draw an Ionic column from ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, there were many temples, and each temple was dedicated to one of the Greek gods. And these temples were beautiful. They were perfectly structured. Oftentimes they were built in alignment with the stars, and they had 3 different classical orders or types of columns that they would use on the temples. So the one we're going to learn about today is called the Ionic column. It's a very famous style for columns. You can see it has the scroll, okay, that kind of wraps around at the top. And then it has some sort of stylized plant-like structures there near the top of the column as well. Now, there are 2 other big columns in ancient Greece. You have the Doric column right here and the Corinthian column. But today we're going to draw the Ionic column. Now, typically in ancient Greece, the temples would have been white, red, and blue. But because this is art class, we're going to make our temples as colorful and interesting and crazy as we like. We're going to use our imaginations a bit. But first, let's learn how to draw an Ionic column. So you need to turn your paper vertically, and you guys are drawing in pencil today. I'm drawing in marker so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start by making 2 circles, okay, of the same size. One here and one over here. I'm going to do my best to make them the same. Okay, pretty good. Now I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to draw a line connecting the tops of them, okay, as best I can, and connecting the bottoms of them, like that. And you can see they're not exactly straight, but that's okay. All right, now right underneath this, I'm going to do a slightly curving sort of rectangle like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do vertical lines going down. There's my column. Now I'm going to put a circle inside of the circle. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the top of the circle like this. I'm going to come from the top, curve around, and now I'm going to cut in. See how I'm cutting in? Cutting in right here, curving in, and I'm going to stop on the top of that little circle. Do the same thing on this one. I'm going to come from the top. I'm going to go around, and now I'm going to cut in and stop on the top. All right, there we go. So now we've got our scrolls, but we can make them even more interesting. I'm going to come right here in the middle. I'm going to put a little dot there. Now I'm going to come from the top of this circle, and I'm going to curve down, hit that dot. Good, and then curve back up. Okay, it's kind of coming down like a lip. All right, now I'm going to do another one on top of it just to create some layering. Okay, and now I'm going to add a second spiral going around. So I'm just again coming from here, the small circle, and I'm going to spiral around like that. Now inside of this space, I can do some circles with this, with 2 straight lines on the sides of them. Another circle. 2 straight lines on the sides of it. There's just some design work. Okay, now I'm going to put in these shapes. Notice how the one in the middle is the widest, and then they get skinnier as they get close to the edge of the column. So this one is pretty wide, and then the ones next to it are going to get thinner. See how they're thinner? I'm going to do these ones now. These ones are even smaller. They're like upside down U's. There we go. Now I'm going to put some shading inside of each one. Just a little bit of shadow that would have been at the top here. See how I'm just kind of shading it in. Okay. And now once I've got my column sketched out in pencil, then you can go over your lines with black marker or a different color of your choice. Okay, and I am going to start coloring with cool and interesting patterns. So I'm going to make this temple very colorful. I'm going to do some interesting loop-de-loops. I'm using oil pastels right now because in a minute I'm going to watercolor. I can color that orange maybe. I can color my column any way I like. I imagine that I'm building my own temple in ancient Greece. And what colors would you want your columns to be? How would you want the architecture to look? I'm gonna make this one like some stripes going across in there, maybe some vertical lines. Okay, and then I can start to color in the column or the scrolls. You want to do like a blue circle in the middle. Some yellow lines spiraling out and around. You really get to pick whatever colors you want to work with today. Yeah, I could color these circles in. And I'm actually going to leave these ones open though. I'm going to leave that pattern. I'm going to leave that open for now. I'm just doing some design work. And then now that I've got some oil pastel down, I can actually, when I'm ready, start to watercolor on top. Remember, oil pastel and watercolors, paints don't mix. So anywhere you put the oil pastel, the watercolor will stay. I'm just going to do a little bit of shading here with the dark blue oil pastel. There we go. And now I'm going to get out my paints and I can paint my column and decorate it and make it really bright and jazzy. Some green in there. Okay. Maybe I need a smaller brush for some of those tight areas. For me, I'm going to do like an orange and blue pattern in between. Always get your brush wet when you're painting. So you can be painting along while you're watching this video. I'm going to do this blue in here. Okay, so you can see how I'm really making my column very colorful and filling it with line designs and some interesting patterns. Do some red up in here. Red scrolls. I want this column to be very bright and to get people's attention. All right. So that's how you make an Ionic column, and I hope you guys enjoy coloring them and adding details and really allowing your imaginations to feel free.